You might notice something a little different when you kick on the camera right now. We are live on location for episode 7. I got Cody Hunt, riding shotgun as always.
Hello, everyone.
Kyle Poulton.
Yeah.
Kyle Poulton, sorry. I may have been watching Brant's story today, and as we know, Pulsifer showed up at the shop. Kyle Poulton with us, and Brad down there on the end.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Brad's the owner of Drink Coffee Do Stuff. He's also, I don't know, is professional marketer. I said that earlier. That's probably not the right word to say.
I think that's fine. Been doing the marketing thing for 18 years now, so I guess professional marketer works.
I guess that would work.
Yeah.
Do anything for 18 years, you're bound to get better at it. So I'm a little out of my element right now. I'm usually in the safety of my own home, and we're on location, and we're using some new technology. I don't really know where to look, but
Yeah.
I want to talk about this for a minute.
I'm just gonna look around. Let's talk about this owl for a minute.
So we are 100% in the age of Zoom meetings and online meetings, and I have a new toy here to look at that's sitting at the middle of the table. He's our unspoken guest, Mr. Owl Camera. Welcome to the show.
That's the guy.
This
guy right here just makes everything happen right now.
Oh, actually, you guys, go ahead and talk for a minute. I gotta share this out.
Oh, yeah. So this thing's got eyes, and it apparently picks up all the sound really good. And Kyle just pulled it out of nowhere, and now we're here with it, and we're stoked.
And it seems to just pivot around the room. Whoever's talking gets picked up by the owl.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is correct, yeah.
It really is. So look, it's going to switch around on the cameras, and I apologize for our live viewers today, but really it's a way to capture the audio and let you guys, see. But if you're in conferences and you're in meetings, this is completely unpaid. Al does not sponsor me yet, but I would like to resource that. So if anybody knows anybody at this Al place,
Let's make that happen.
cameras are rad. I'm going to show you guys. Check out the story. I'll post about it later. But we're just going to have some fun tonight. This is a hashtag winging it episode on Thanksgiving Eve. We are live down here in Reno, Nevada. I have some visitors from Brad's from Truckee. Cody flew in from Alpine, especially for this podcast. And
That is exactly why I'm here. Just for the podcast. Not for friends, Cody. It's all about this podcast.
So I'm going to hit the share button now so I can get this out to our personal page. If you guys watching want to share it out, do so. Don't feel obligated to share it, but if you do, just know we're appreciative of it.
I'll wait for you, so
There we go.
there's good
All right.
communication.
So I like bringing Brad on here. He's going to bring some good insight to this. As you guys know, this is the Driven Mindset podcast. It's about overcoming obstacles. It's about pursuing your passions, and it's a little bit of a conversation amongst friends, and then hopefully you gain some knowledge from it. But there's a couple things I want to hit on through this point. Is Brad's kind of shaped his life around living in the mountains, different experiences from Big Bear to Truckee, as well as marketing through a tremendous, basically the social media wave is kind of you've developed through it. And also trying to build a business during this wonderful time of COVID 2020 land. So we'll hit some of all of that. You guys, if you got questions for us, throw them in the comments. We're watching.
We are paying attention to those comments for sure. So, Brad, you were telling me last night you were in a video game.
I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, in a video game. He's literally in a video game. What was that video?
Wow. Yeah, how to start on that subject. Well, I started my career out at Bear Mountain down Southern California. I was hired on by Genevieve Gunnarsson to basically handle marketing and PR for Bear Mountain. And that gradually evolved into Snow Summit Resort buying Bear Mountain, and the two merging together and kind of becoming the epicenter of freestyle snowboarding, kind of really in the world. Definitely in California, but in the world. And we were building the biggest, baddest, touring parks, and putting features all over the mountain, and we we were creating kind of content. This was circa 2001, 2002, 2003.
This is like back when X Games was at Snow Summit.
That was 1997, so that was a little bit earlier than this. But this was really kind of the culmination of two resorts that were just balls to the wall going after terrain park development, coming together and basically just creating, the all mountain park.
Right.
We're really building, terrain parks all over the entire mountain. It wasn't confined to one run or two runs. It was everywhere.
I did not know this. This is going to be cool. I'm excited to talk about this because that is a massive evolution in industry that you kind of got to be at the front of.
Absolutely, man. It was a really cool time in snowboarding, and it was a really cool time in resort and terrain park development, and we did a lot of really interesting things. One of the things that we really got into was content development before you could really properly release content. We were creating snowboarding videos, and posting them online when you still had to put them, two different versions. You had to have a QuickTime version and a Windows version, and it was taking kids, hours to download these damn videos, but they wanted to watch them so much that they waited. They put in the time and trying to download videos on dial-ups or some of the first DSLs. So we started, we started the Sunday in the Park series when I was there, which has gone on to become, it still goes on today, and it's one of the longest running online snowboard series, if not the longest series that's ever existed.
Yeah, I see that every once in a while on Instagram and Facebook. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we were kind of on the cutting edge of content development, terrain park development, kind of the whole thing kind of came together. We started an event down there called Hot Dogs and Handrails that continues today.
Hot dogs and handrails.
Yeah, have you ever been?
No, I
It's
need to
sick.
go.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
midsummer.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a winter kickoff celebration in September, and I think this year, if it would have happened, it didn't happen because of COVID, but I think it would have been the 17th year of it, something like that.
COVID.
That's a resort that's just like right outside of LA up the mountain, right?
Yeah, it's in Big Bear.
Yeah.
Big Bear, yeah.
Yeah. And there's Snow Summit and there's Bear Mountain. It's kind of where I'm from too, so it's kind of cool to hear the stories back when I was super young, and you guys in frontiering.
Yeah, it was an interesting time of creativity and kind of the freedom. The resort management really just backed us. Like we were really able to kind of do whatever we want, from the development of the park to the marketing of the park to creating events. When we first came up with the idea for Hot Dogs and Handrails, we're going to have a snowboarding event in September in Southern California. They basically thought we were nuts.
Yeah.
And by the second year, I think we had 7,000 people in attendance. So
Whoa.
it really developed quickly and became kind of the premier winter kickoff kind of snowboarding event / movie premiere kind of celebration that happens every year.
I kind of think, and Cody, you might be able to ping in on this, is I kind of see backcountry snowmobile in that kind of, in the bigger picture of the timeline of things, kind of right there right now.
For sure. Since sled started getting cool, sledding really started becoming cool when the RMK chassis came out, right? Like the Dragon.
Yeah, you look at
That's
like
when people
skiers
really
and
started
snowboarders
getting
went up
into
and
it.
down the mountains, all they did.
Yeah. So the growth since then in the industry, has just been huge, and it's just progressing year after year after year, and more people are getting into it, and the stoke is just getting higher. Not really sure what else you wanted me to touch on there.
No, that's kind of why I'm like super stoked on backcountry riding right now is that exactly. I'm not by no means a pioneer, but everybody living right now kind of gets to be part of this evolution and actions we take and things we do and, strategies that we implement now are kind of like, what you did, cresting that, borders and parks didn't exist on a mountain. until now it's taking over more and more and more of the mountain and becoming an industry in itself. I mean, which it already is. I don't like hit fast forward button, but kids don't grow up to be mogul riders anymore. They grow up to be park superstars. It's changed the dynamic of an industry, I think, and I think we get to be a part of that too. So that's all I was going with it. So early on, you're coming up with ideas. You're finding new ways to shove just a ton of content down a dial-up network.
Yeah.
Much.
Doing.
Get off the phone.
I only need 7 more hours to get this 30-second video on the interweb. All right, that's early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting because we'd look at the analytics of these video plays and the amount of time that it was taking for the downloads, but the numbers of kids watching was insane. And I mean, this was really even before like Snowboarder Magazine or Transworld. Snowboarding even had active websites.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're talking about VHS tapes.
Yeah, they weren't even posting content yet. And here was this weird resort in Southern California that was putting these videos online. So it was just kind of a really like new territory time, which was really cool to be a part of. And to answer your earlier question about the video game, so at the time for Xbox, they were creating the game Amped 2, and so they came to Bear Mountain to basically model the mountain to represent the all mountain park that we were doing there in the video game. So through the features of the game and the building of the game, they actually had a section or a level where, as a player, you had to go to the marketing office and see Brad Farmer to get your lift ticket.
Nice.
So that's how I made the video game.
You said that last night, and I was blown away. I was like, "What? I've known you for how many years, and I never knew you were in a video game." I thought it was pretty cool.
It's pretty funny. So yeah, it was just kind of a cool time where we were doing content, we were doing video games, we were creating amazing parks and events, and just kind of really, it was just a really fun time to be a part of those things.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Snow Summit and Bear Mountain are still one of the leading parks out there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, at that time, there was really a massive kind of explosion, across the whole country, and then resorts started trying to one-up each other, and it just became, growing and growing and growing. I think today it's backed off a bit, unfortunately. I think the resorts are putting a little less effort
into
training parks, and like everything else, it just comes down to money, and it comes down to what kids want today and what kind of the new generations want. And unfortunately, not as many kids today are kind of identifying through action sports, and so there isn't that like level of growth of the sport anymore.
Yeah,
So
there's not a level of stoke anymore.
That's about the time a big evolution happens. So like everything kind of rides that way. Where
Kind of like a 20-year cycle.
Comes and goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
I think so. I mean, you got to think at some point, this extreme focus on the phone and social media and stuff has to maybe have a swing back.
Yeah.
Where people want to spend more time focusing on the sports that they love or the music they want to play or whatever it is. I feel like hopefully anyway that we get kind of back to that core.
It quickly went away, and I like it's not a matter of how good you are to get things anymore or whatever. It's just about shock, wow, content, followers, edit, learning, process stuff, which I myself can be thankful for. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, it's got to shift away. What it'll look like, who knows? I didn't know what it would look like 3 years ago. Now that I'm like, hey, what's this Facebook thing? I got on it as a way to, I got tired of answering text messages when my kid was born, as a way just to communicate with more people quicker, but quickly changed. But we're not going to go into the dynamics of social media and stuff at this point. We got enough stuff to talk about. Brad's here. bringing a ton to the table as far as marketing and stuff, and we'll circle back to it. But I want to hit on Drink Coffee Do Stuff because I feel it's super relevant right now. You're attempting to grow a small business in the most extremely turbulent times. And as I like to circle kind of everything around mindset, I know, having a big vision and having extreme challenges in front of you can kind of create some cool stuff. So let's hit a little bit on what Drink Coffee Do Stuff is, and then we can kind of go into some challenges and stuff you're facing, and maybe somebody watching this has a small business themselves, or somebody listening in the background can learn from some of the challenges you're facing, bringing a marketing background into small business and ownership in COVID. So Drink Coffee Do Stuff, where'd it come from?
Yeah, so I partnered with a good friend of mine actually that I met through kind of the snowboarding industry. When I was working with Arbor Snowboards for a long time, and one of the first professional team riders that I brought on to be a part of that brand was Nick Visconti. And he and I just became really good friends over the years. And as he kind of wrapped up his career in snowboarding, he kind of went on to find a new passion in coffee. And he ended up spending much time up in Portland and Seattle, just developing his skills in roasting coffee and kind of doing mentorships and really kind of going through the process of learning that whole business. And through that whole time, we were talking, and he was talking about wanting to start a business and kind of eventually moving back to Truckee and opening a coffee shop. And anyway, as we continued to talk about it and it kind of continued to develop, at some point he asked me, if I wanted to come on as an investor. And just knowing Nick and who he is, and he's just one of those kind of people that's like, everything that he does is like extreme, and he's just a contagious person to want to work with, because he's just one of those people that just has it,
It just works.
People that have it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, man, absolutely. I'd love to do that. And kind of continued to develop from there. And it wasn't too long after that where he was already kind of so far in over his head that he needed active help. So he asked me if I was interested in coming on as an active partner. And I said, yeah, let's do this. And that's kind of around the time we decided to start it as a wholesale business first, rather than focusing on a coffee shop. So we kind of built out the wholesale business for a couple of years, and then just actually about a year ago opened our first coffee shop in Incline Village. So then we kind of had the wholesale business up and running and doing really well, then got into the retail side of the business. And now we're actually a couple months away from opening another coffee shop in Truckee. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how it all
winning in
started.
2020 right there.
it's how you win. You put your foot down, and go. I feel like so many people, it's easy. Like we said, we started this thing off. The minute you stop or hesitate, that's when everything stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been challenging. I mean, we had, we were just on a tear, growth straight up, and then March hit, and it was like, oh, we just hit a wall like everybody else. We had to lay off our entire staff. We had to lay ourselves off. It was pretty ugly, but luckily we had built kind of a dynamic brand. We had our online business, we had our grocery store business, we had our hospitality business, and we had our retail business. So
Structure.
Yeah.
Structure.
So with the COVID situation, it was like, well, our hospitality business just ate shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is just, it was terrible. So we just kind of pivoted and focused more on the grocery business, which was actually through the roof, right?
Yep.
Because everybody was just going to the grocery store.
Yep.
Right.
So that went really well. We made a couple of moves with our online business, and we're actually able to quadruple our online sales during the whole COVID thing. And so actually within about 2 to 3 months, we were kind of right back where we were before. But it was definitely kind of a tactical approach to try to decide, all right, one arm of our business is completely fucked. So we're going to focus on these other parts of the business, and luckily we had already built those. So it was good, and our coffee shop was in Nevada, which didn't get nearly as kind of shut down as California did, so that was fortunate as well. So all things considered, I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster ride, but we were lucky to make the pivots that we did when we did, and able to grow out of it.
Just not giving up and coming up with different ways of success in this time of hurt.
Yeah, I've seen it in everything too. I mean, motorsports in general has kind of exploded through this whole thing because it's the outdoor mecca. It's about the only thing people had to do. But I think the big win there is multi-channels of distribution.
Yeah, I think the lesson learned is that, if you can, when you're developing a business, try to do it so that you have multiple options, because apparently you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Apparently there can be a fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
So, we were in a good position because of that, but we also had friends in the same business that were just 100% retail or 100% hospitality or whatever. And so then they were like freaking out, like, oh shit, we have to develop this whole new side of our business that we don't have.
A whole new business plan.
Yeah. So we were lucky that we were in the position that we were in. So
Kyle's been kind of quiet over here. I want to hit on that because he's kind of sees it from another angle too, from the construction angle. If you guys remember on Driven, I don't remember what episode it was on at this point.
Probably 3.
It was early on.
It was the very beginning.
It might have been 3, buddy.
Now you're on 7.
You made it from 3 to 7, and there's about a 2-year span in there. Like I said, I was starting. I just started calling my friends. I'm like, dude, I got this Facebook thing going. I need people to talk to. Jump on there. But Kyle brings a lot to the table from the construction industry. He's on the front lines, basically, of construction, from hands-on builder to developer to investing. Really seeing it all. What are you seeing trend-wise going on currently that somebody out there listening right now is like, hey, my online or my hospitality business is tanked. I mean, this isn't specifically a business podcast basically, but it's a mindset, man. Maybe it's time to just make a big pivot and get into a different industry. But construction, what are you seeing? What's it like? How are you handling it? And how much do you want to just scream at things?
I mean, yeah, this definitely has changed. I mean, I've been in 17-ish years, kind of 18 now, coming up. I've been in construction. I mean, I was there in the last housing market, kind of.
Fucking owl guy isn't.
He's not picking me up.
You gotta yell at him.
Hello,
Hey, Al!
hello.
Sorry, I hate to. I see on the panorama you're front and center.
Is he here? Should we do some of this? Is he better now?
That's all messed up now.
Now we've confused it all. Sorry, people. We are dealing with technology here. There's nobody on camera now.
Nobody. My bad.
I'll just move over a few inches.
Hold on.
Turning.
How about now?
It's locked on us three pretty hardcore. Maybe because you're front and center on the.
Maybe I'll smooth over here.
On the
You just go sit next to
the big panorama thing.
How about now? Can you see me now?
Come sit down, Kyle.
Can you see me now?
get up in the mix.
I want to say yes, but I don't know.
Let me see what's going on.
No,
Here, let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, I'm on.
Now you're on.
I'm on, bud.
Yeah, it just couldn't.
Yeah, I'm on, bud.
I don't think the owl liked your voice.
No, I've been on it too many times. That's the problem. So going back, yeah, I mean, I was there kind of new and up and coming, I guess, when, the housing market, it tanked, I guess, in construction industry, which, I think it's any market, any industry. I think we just touched on, the importance of being well-versed and multi-business capable of, if a guy's out there and owns a handyman service and say all you've been doing is, handyman work on maybe residential stuff. Right now, you're seeing a lot of guys starting to think outside the box where maybe I want to do, handyman stuff in commercial. Maybe I want to try to do handyman stuff, outside of just the every day-to-day stuff that, everyone's so used to doing. Like the company I'm working for now that we're actually sitting in their office. I mean,
very nice office, though.
Yeah. So I started working for these guys, and prior to that, I was in, I've been building high-rise construction buildings, mostly multifamily markets, with a little bit of mixed commercial retail. And, up until the pandemic hit, the commercial retail side of things was it was unstoppable. I mean, you couldn't build enough commercial retail space because there was so many people starting new businesses, new endeavors. They wanted bigger and better facilities. That was kind of the trend here until, I guess, March 2020. I mean, everybody was kind of moving and doing and jiving and doing stuff. And, now, we're fortunate enough here at Built. We have Built, which is basically a commercial side. That's primarily what I head up. That's what I do here. We're doing a bunch of multifamily stuff. We have a renovation project on an existing building down here in Reno. It's 210 North Sierra. It's going to be a sweet job. Used to be a nightclub, got flooded out. The guy lost it. We're going to change that into some commercial retail, and then looking at doing some multifamily on top. And that's kind of what I was just touching on. Is that goes to, you're seeing a lot more of that now, where it used to be just kind of garden tract style, multifamily stuff, where it was, you got 30 apartments in one building. That's it.
So I don't want to bring this up, but I went to college and I took some class. I wish I could remember the name of it, but this was 2002, 1. It was that exactly. It was building, the U.S. was getting in such a way that the shopping was freaking 5 miles over there. The houses were 5 miles over there, and there's only one way to get in between A and B, and it's a crap load of traffic in the middle. And the entire class was centered around building these small, economic hubs where you had your place of work, you had your retail, you had your commercial space, you had your residential space, and that's kind of.
Yeah, it is definitely
should have paid attention in that
changing. It's definitely it's a changing of a time. I mean, everybody, as they say, different strokes for different folks. But I live, eat, stay, work where I live it's a real thing.
I mean, we're all working at home right now, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these, and that's kind of like what I always go back to is so we have that side that's commercial. Which we're lucky right now that in Reno, the market's still really good in that aspect, even through COVID. Yeah, we've all had to adjust and whatever, as far as filing guidelines and doing all this stuff.
Reno is crazy right now.
Reno is right up there, I would say, with, Idaho's going pretty hard.
We were just in Boise. None of us had to wear masks or anything. And then I come here and I'm just we couldn't even go to dinner last night.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's definitely, it's strange that, you go from different market to different market. It's different in different places, but and then when I was back on the other side, we have Realm, which is a custom home builder. Around here, we've had a lot of California transplants that basically couldn't afford to live in California anymore, or just kind of, I guess, be sick of California.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of transplants that move here, which has been driving the market, real well.
Like moving over from the Bay Area.
Yeah, a lot of Bay Area transplants. We're having a lot of people from LA. I mean, just a lot of people that, you have people that are making $350,000 a year that can't afford to live there anymore. We just did a market analysis in San Francisco, and right now your average 600 square foot studio is $4,300. I mean, in a nice area. So, I mean, for the rest of us, I'm sure sitting around are going $4,300 for 600 square feet. How,
That's insane.
Yeah. So, and, so we have that custom home side, which has been doing really well. I mean, we've done things from, spec style homes to, full on customs, that's on this wall behind us, which has been, really good. And then on the flip side of that, we also have Stitzer Properties, which basically is a real estate kind of broker firm. That allows us to kind of also dip into our own stuff, plus help people look for houses And it also gives us some leads on, being able to reach out to markets that maybe we wouldn't reach as a custom home builder, is the aspect of somebody looking but doesn't know where or how to look. And I think a big part about that, now especially is with social media. We're able to reach a huge market of people like a Zillow or and all of a sudden you just put a logo on there that says Stitzer Properties, and they're like, who's Stitzer Properties? I never heard of Stitzer Properties. And then, next thing you know, you have a new client. But yeah, we're definitely seeing a change in stuff right now. Again, I think leading up to this point, the market has been so strong. Investors and people that are looking to get into it or are into it currently, the rates on dollars borrowed has been so low.
Yeah.
Up to this point, even for us, is just buying a house.
We were talking about it last week. Your dad buying a house for
Nothing.
6% interest,
Yeah.
and he was tickled on it, and
Yeah.
people are locking things in at 2.5%. It's crazy. I don't know. We're just talking at this point,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Free money.
Yeah, it pretty much was. It got to a point where, people were, even just the regular home buyer, like say in 2016, the interest rate might have been, 5.5 or 6%. And all of a sudden today it's at 2.52, for a 30-year. And it's like, now you can afford a house that you couldn't afford 4 years ago.
Right.
Which it opens up the door to a lot of people and a lot of things. But yeah, no, we're seeing a huge change again right now. People are kind of, I don't want to say sheltering back in place, but they're definitely being a lot more picky about what it is that they want to do and what they're trying to build.
So work-wise, dealing with stuff, we like to bring this always around mindset. Extremely challenged. I think we've answered the question of multi streams and attacking things from different angles is the way to go forward. But mindset-wise, every single day is a new challenge. It's a new set of guidelines that we must follow. I see it at my place I work at. It's constantly evolving, and it's really easy. We were talking about this at the Boise Snow Show. Is you can have a mountain of good things over here, and I think
but then you start focusing on that one little bad thing.
Exactly. You have one little tiny bad thing over here that our minds naturally go to, and I think right now, I guess COVID could be a big thing if you let it, but is not letting yourself focus on that one little bad thing when there's so many good things. This is a big shift. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, we are all kind of adjusting to it, and it's going to change fundamentally, I think, how we operate as humans, as a culture, as a public entity. But focusing on that right there, it's the industry's changing. I'm sure that when the ski hill saw the borders showing up and digging jumps, they just saw liability and lawsuits, and instead of trying to focus on the positive of the shift. Same thing now, building, people, mindsets, home life. Every day we're throwing curveballs. Every day is how we adjust to them, how we react to them. So, what are some things, man? Show me, how do you guys what's the mindset behind? How do you handle those curveballs? Make it conversation wise, because this is reality. We're all living in it. We're all constantly adjusting. I get stressed out over it. It's like I just figured out how to do this way. Now I got to do it a new way. What are some ways you do?
I think one of the most challenging things that we've experienced with Drink Coffee Do Stuff is our Incline Cafe in particular, because that's our first retail spot, is that when people come in, we pride ourselves on great customer service, great experience, great products, and when people come in and experience kind of everything we have to offer, we typically get great reviews. On Yelp, on Google, whatever it is. But we have this kind of social justice personality out there through the COVID situation, where they walk into your business, and if they see something that doesn't match their risk profile, rather than talk to you about it or ask to talk to a manager or something, They go online.
Yeah.
They go on Yelp and they give you 1-star reviews that has absolutely nothing to do with your business or what you're providing or anything. Maybe they saw an employee that didn't have their mask perfectly put on, or they saw a customer who didn't have a mask on, or whatever the situation is. And I have a really hard time with those people because small businesses are already struggling so hard. Why would you ever want to walk into a place and try to make it worse for them?
That's a mindset in itself. That's totally focusing on that little bit of negative when there's so much good around it.
Yeah, it's really really difficult to deal with. And quite honestly, we haven't really found a way to deal with it because it's the kind of person that you can't, the kind of person that's willing to take the time.
It's a Karen.
To do that. It's a Karen.
It's a Karen.
You can't. There's nothing you can say in response that's going to have an effect on them because it's just hateful, and it's unfortunate.
It's a societal problem. 100%.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. There was a extremely good podcast that actually got I think he's rated the top 2 podcasts on Apple Podcast, and he just lit a fire underneath all that sort of thing. And Apple took him off to quit showing his show as number 2. They took him off for like 3 days until the Army showed up and emailed the shit out of Apple Podcasts. And it's a societal problem that all the trophy kids, all the 8th place trophy kids are grown up voting now, and they have a voice. And that's what, I hate to say it, but
yeah, it's just like social justice
it's
mentality that it's like an attack on your business and your livelihood and your employees' livelihood. And it's just amazing to me that these people don't take a step back and think about the ramifications of the things that they're saying. And it's not just happening to us. I mean, we talk to business owners every day who are dealing with this very thing. And quite frankly, man, I'm not going to tell my employees that they have to police our customers. They're not cops. They're baristas. It's not their job to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit in there all day, making every person that comes in, follow a certain protocol. And, it's like people just don't know how to turn it off anymore or go somewhere else. If you walk into a place and you don't feel comfortable there, go somewhere else.
Right.
That's it. It's that easy.
Don't go on Yelp.
If you see something on TV or social media you don't like, turn it off. You don't have to ban everything that doesn't fit into your little world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I'm operating solely basically a 1 day at a time thing, being conscious of where I want to wind up at the end. And I found myself, I got bogged down in it for a minute and frustrated with it. And it's just, I hate to say it, but it's the world we live in, and what we make of it as individuals is how we'll come out of it. I mean, you could have thrown your hands up when the retail side of it, the hospitality side of it, hit the fan basically. And certain people have. There's a lot of businesses that just hey, we're done. Close the doors. You were talking about it earlier. We can do that, I guess, in our own lives too. This whole show basically started like that. Is all I could see was, either what I didn't have, and I think this will tie in good to the Winging It show, is focusing so much on what's wrong and focusing so much on what maybe I didn't have or where I wasn't yet, where I thought I should have been because I did X, Y, and Z, instead of just extreme gratitude for where I am and what I did have and what I did have going for me. And I love this, and it's kind of my pullback to center is 3 years ago, I was in a pretty weird spot, and I fast forward to now, and I'm at the same job. I go home to the same house. I drive the same truck. Everything is so much the same. I just started looking at things from a new light, a new angle, basically. And being grateful for one helped a ton. So people out there, we're in a weird spot right now, and it ain't 1990.
We have so much to be grateful for all
Right?
the time.
And
I mean, that's, what tomorrow is all about. Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving
Give thanks.
with your families.
Yeah, with
10
your
more
families.
people.
10 or more people. Go get it. Don't wear your masks.
Share the bottle of
Don't let
whiskey.
people police you. Get after
Did you see like it's to the point I don't even know what to believe when what I see on my newsfeed anymore. But California, LA was going to turn your power and water off if you're reported having a family group gathering. And I don't know if that's real or not, and I hate that. That scares me.
Yeah.
Because millions and millions of people are
Everyone's
seeing.
just so scared all the time anymore, and it sucks. And they're just, I don't know, man. I want to touch on Boise for a minute.
Let's do
Let's
it.
please talk. Yeah. Let's talk about Boise.
If you're still with us on the podcast, let's go back to Boise because I know exactly where I think you want to go. With Boise, run with it.
There was, how many people do you think walked in that door
A
at the
lot,
Boise Snow Show? A lot.
a lot.
Guess
That's a lot
what?
of people.
No one was wearing masks.
Not very many. No.
We had a blast the whole time.
The coolest part about it to me was, and whatever, safety aside,
It felt normal again.
it was nice to see people's emotion
Yeah.
because you can't with masks. And I know, I get it. Masks save lives. I'm not with or without. It was freaking awesome to see people's faces again because it's been weird. We're not used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said when we first went around there. I was like, I can't believe, I'm having a conversation and I'm watching people's lips and mouth and are you smiling? Are you not smiling? And there is a lot.
Are you
but
mad at me?
there is a lot to be said about that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, human interaction was never meant to be, the upper half of your face. There's so much that goes on with, your mouth and, and everything else.
Well, look
It's
at
like-
Home Improvement.
Right?
Remember Home Improvement?
I mean,
Who was the guy behind the fence? You never saw his mouth.
Al.
No, it wasn't.
Who was that?
Al was his buddy.
That was his buddy.
Oh.
Someone tell us in the comments. Wilson.
Wilson. Wilson the soccer ball?
No.
No.
He was
Wilson
the guy in the maybe flannel, maybe not. You never really knew.
Yeah, and he was always behind
Tom
the fence.
Hanks movie where he's murdering them.
Yeah, Wilson was.
Wilson was a ball.
Wilson was a ball.
Wilson was
Some
the
kind of
ball. But Wilson was the neighbor on the fence that.
And you could never see his emotion.
Yeah.
And they were telling us something back then.
I mean, it's
He was the wise guy that Tim always went to him when he had troubles. That was his resource to get over whatever thing he broke or tool he needed. That Jill?
maybe.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of Binfords in there. A lot of Binfords.
A lot of Benfords. Yeah, but he was his resource. He was his mentor, basically.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing, and I think, and Scott just touched on it, and I'll kind of tail off what Scott just says. I think there's a lot of frustration right now with people because it's hard, right? You have so much going on that you don't know what to believe. You really don't have the direction. And right now, I think, at least in America, it's so hard to actually find facts. It's one day you hear, you're supposed to wear a mask, and then they say, well, maybe don't wear a mask or wear this mask. And I mean, in my industry, it was there was a time where nobody really even knew what to do. I mean, we just kind of all were
Winging it.
we're winning it, just like this show. Yeah, I mean, it was there's COVID and we really don't know what to do, but you're an essential worker, so here's a little pass and go to work. And I mean, every day you wake up and be like, what if I forgot my pass at home and I get pulled over? Am I going to get arrested? And then it was even throughout doing trade stuff, it was you got a big window, but you're not supposed to be 6 feet. You're supposed to be more than 6 feet apart. You're not supposed to be closer than 6 feet. So how do I put this window in? Or how do I carry this heavy object? Because I'm not supposed to be by you. All in the meantime, there was a group running around and issuing fines to businesses and to workers.
They threaten your business license.
Yeah, and I mean, it was this. I think the hardest thing for people right now is just the clarity on what are we doing, where are we going, and how do we get there? Because I think there's a lot of us that we were just talking about that there's places that Florida, for example, is 100% open and they don't have any masks. There's no masks.
Boise
It's
was
100%
100% open too, and then we had one of the last nights out.
Yeah.
And back to lockdown.
Yeah, and I mean, I think
insane.
I
You
think
guys
that's
did capitalize on that.
We did.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part right now with all this. Just here we are weighing it again. Is I think there's so many people who are just so confused right now.
So I'll give you a little case study. Take us outside of the United States. I was just down in Costa Rica for 10 days.
Oh,
And regardless of like how you
I think there's
feel,
a member down there right now.
Yeah.
Search for snow check.
Search for snow check.
Did you see Cam's sled down there anywhere? He's currently looking.
He's looking for a snow check.
Anyway, regardless of how you feel about, mask versus no mask versus, all the different things that we're trying to do as a nation to combat this or not combat it. The one thing that I noticed in Costa Rica, which is a third world nation, democracy, yes, but third world nation, is that regardless of where I was in the country, every business you walk into, exact same protocol.
Right.
Exact same.
Yeah.
Didn't matter where you went.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know exactly what the hell happened in this country, but clearly we didn't handle things very well.
Right.
But you don't have to look very far to find a country that has very low cases and seems to have a protocol across their entire country that's consistent.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about. It's just some sort of consistency, I think can go a long ways. Regardless of whether you support mask mandates or don't, if there is consistency, I think that it helps everybody.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I think we were just talking about, like, how do you get up and deal with it on a, like, going to work every day basis? And it's like, you just kind of go day by day.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to at this point in time.
There's really you just stay as positive as you can, be, grateful or thankful that you're able to get up and go to work every day. And for the people who, are in, other industries, restaurants, bars, coffee shops that, maybe they do wake up, tomorrow and it's like, oh, well, they shut my coffee shop down. Like, we were just saying, we're in Idaho, it was totally open and then it was totally like closed. Yeah,
It's like a whipsaw. Like we were prepared. We were told, by the governor in California that we were going to have to go back one tier and that we had 2 weeks to prepare for it. And then all of a sudden it's no, we're going back 2 tiers and it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's like,
yeah,
the breakdown in our government's ability to deal with this has just tortured businesses.
Yep. Yeah. That's absolutely true. Yeah. And I think the moral of, I guess, what we're all talking about in here is
Winging it. Keeping your head up and never giving up. And
if like, I think he touched on it too. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable, doing something, then don't do it.
Right.
Or if you do, then do it, but don't hate the next person for doing something that you don't like, because maybe it's something they like doing.
Right.
So
I mean, everybody's got their own level of comfort in the situation and what they're willing to expose themselves to and do. And instead of attacking those who don't believe your way, just do what you need to do to protect yourself.
Yeah.
In the way that you think you need to.
Yeah. I mean, Cody loves hucking huge jumps, and maybe Scott likes panel flops.
Right. Panel flop city. You get just a little bit more break and they'll come right around. Panel flops.
Yeah.
Land right on track.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah. Panel flops, big whips, whatever.
Yep.
I gotta say, so my gym last night, they switched over. It was the 24th yesterday, so they switched over. We used to, when you were on a machine, you had no mask.
Yeah.
But if you're in between machines or walking to something else, you had to put your mask on.
Right.
Which, again, some people do, some people don't. Like I do, just because that's what's allowing the gym to be open. And then yesterday it switched to mask, no matter what. If you're in the gym, you gotta wear a mask.
Unless you have a drink in your hand.
Unless you're drinking water.
Right.
And then it ducks you. But my part, what I can do is, and I don't know, and that's the type of mindset I have, is I'm going to do everything I can to help that gym stay open, because if I abide by whatever, rules they're being puppeteered by,
Yeah.
and yes, I would rather not wear a mask at all, but if it keeps the business open, it, keeps me in there, keeps me healthy, and keeps me on my goals. It's going to help me on the end, and it's going to do nothing to tear me. If I'm like, he's not wearing a mask, they're not wearing a mask. Basically, don't turn your neighbors in if they have Thanksgiving tomorrow. If I was to if I was to give one plea to everybody is
Please don't do that.
Go enjoy your families and
If you're able.
have fun.
if you're able. I
If
mean,
you're
if
able.
you got an at-risk nanny, don't go pick her up and bring her to your house. But damn sure deliver the mashed potatoes and have a conversation with her from a safe distance.
And when it comes to the businesses, come on, everybody, let's keep in mind that these businesses are doing the best they can.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So when you go in there and you don't follow their policy, or you start going on Yelp and writing nasty things, you're just making it worse for everybody. You're not helping. If you really have a problem with the business, talk to the owner or talk to the manager.
I mean, I feel like most of the people that listen to the show, that are going to listen to the podcast, that we kind of align. You are, your tribe, your vibe attracts your tribe. Definitely, probably not reaching the people that
We normally do.
Hey, I'll do whatever as long as we get a big snow.
Right, just bring it on later. So we
Bring
kind
on the
of
snow.
went off on a COVID tangent there a little bit, but at the same time,
But it's understandable, right?
this is the most trying time that the majority of us that listen, that myself have lived through.
We're real people too. On a personal level, we're talking about all the things that I'm sure everybody that listens is probably just as frustrated with, or shares or doesn't share the idea of whatever it is we're talking about. But it's good to just sit in a room with people, and whether you share their opinion or not doesn't mean you can't talk about it, right?
Go tell all those Karens that you know.
Yeah.
Stop being Karens.
Yeah.
Just
Tell them to change to see things our way. We'll get along. But no, tactical ways that people can work on this through their mindset is 100%. I recommend going out for a walk or a run. Like, if you're sitting at home on social media and scrolling this stuff, you're going to spin yourself into an absolute hole. But I'm extremely thankful for what I've done personally with my shoulder surgery is really start focusing on ways I can get better each day and not get drugged down by the COVID crud.
Right, and not focusing on this little thing that you got going on in your life.
That might be
focusing on this huge thing.
the
that you
huge
have this
plethora of
goal.
opportunity. I think that'll
Right.
kind of be the focus of this show. I'll rework the title is "Don't Focus on the One Broken."
Bad thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Focus on
keep pushing.
everything good.
yeah, everything. So much good.
Because as soon as you start focusing on the bad things, you just become depressed.
You create more.
You just create more and more things that are bad.
Well, and we are. I mean, we're living in a society of. I hate to say it, but they want to just flush you down the toilet into a dark hole. They'd rather see you miserable in your house, and especially right now through COVID.
It's like Brad said, when people walk into business, they could be doing 100 things right. They're going to go in and zoom right in on the one thing that's out of place and wrong. That's
we seem to be primarily focused as human beings and as a nation on the negatives right now. And I think that you guys are 100% right. Like it's if everybody would just focus on the good things in life and the good things that happen to them every day instead of dwelling on the crap, the social media spewing or whatever, we can all be doing better.
Yeah, it's crazy out there.
Travis Weiss says, "What's up, Cody?"
Travis Weiss.
Yeah.
Hi, Travis.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Travis in a minute. We should definitely get out and ride, buddy. Yeah, man. Like, there's people that are totally winning in this COVID thing, right?
Yep.
And big, huge, big. I mean, you look at. I say this quite often. You look at the Diesel brothers. They're just on it right now, and they're not focusing on the negative. They're focusing on the positive stuff, and they're just continuing to push forward. While the people that are focusing on the little, minute stuff, and it's holding them back.
I saw on Heavy D's post, he went down and saw the oddly metal-shaped thing.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What's that?
Well, I want to focus on one comment because it's typical of where things are right now. Is the dude's like, this is what's wrong with now. Everybody's going to go there and see that and destroy that piece of art or that piece of land.
I bet no one destroys it.
And
I hope no one destroys it.
and
I
Heavy
hope
D
no
just
one
came
gets it.
back and he's like, no, this is the point of this thing is to experience it and catch the feelings from it, and like just went positive on the guy.
Yeah, get out there and
100%. And
explore.
I read it and I'm like, boom.
Yeah,
It's like a positive burn.
You know,
Heavy D is so on point.
I think it's funny. Me and Scott.
Let's
talk-
get him on the show.
Yeah, me and Scott talked quite a bit, and I remember when all this, not COVID, but long before all this, back in the days when people could hang out and do things, and we always talked about comfort, right? There's always that factor of comfort, and I think what's going on, and I see it a lot right now, is people being forced to get out of their comfort zone.
100%.
Yeah.
And if, just kind of tallying back to here we are winning it, and people asking like, how are you doing it? And I'm finding ways to forcefully make myself uncomfortable every day, and finding ways to live and learn from being uncomfortable, because I think everybody got so stuck for so long that, you're just comfortable, right? Like you get up, you go to work, you come home,
Like a puppet.
yeah, almost. I mean, like if you're a drinker, you drink your Coors Light, and you have your, whatever, and you watch your show, and you go to bed, and your alarm goes off, and you drink the same coffee, and you drive the same route, and you put the same gas in, you go to the same gas station. And now people are being, forced to, well, now I'm not going to work, or now I can't go to that gas station, or, well, now what do I do? I think a lot of that too is we're seeing is a lot more negative actions out of people because they're being brought out of their comfort zone, that it brings anger instead of like stoke of like, I'm learning to live another way.
Right. I'm learning so many new things every day, and people are just losing their minds because they don't know how to learn anymore.
And it's, I think it's like a sledder, we're three of us, you snowboarder, maybe sledder, I'm sure you've been sledding, but it's like that progression of like getting out of that comfort zone. And it's like all the fear and everything that lives up to it. You're just like, oh man, it's so scary and it's so bad. Then you go out and you're like, you do it, and sometimes it's by accident, sometimes it's not. But like as soon as you break out of that comfort zone, it's like the most joyful adrenaline rush thing. You're just like, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Like let's just challenge people to go do something different tomorrow. Like go do something different.
Well, they're gonna have to. They're not gonna have their traditional Thanksgiving because
But
everybody's gonna be alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is that don't get angry about it.
Right?
Find a way to get stoked up about it. Find a way to be grateful, and find a way to break out of that comfort zone. It's just your day-to-day life stuff. I don't want to be the elephant in the room and tell people, but I hope maybe one day it goes back. But if it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. And I think people got to learn how to be uncomfortable in sometimes comfortable situations.
I love it, dude.
That's
funny.
That's good.
So good.
It worked, dude.
Yeah.
I just touched you during COVID.
Like,
Is that non-COVID?
No, fist bumps are compliant.
Oh yeah, that's
no,
right.
Sometimes.
No
isn't
handshakes.
it an elbow bump?
Oh, that was phase one though.
That was early on.
We're in phase 1.75 right now, so we can still knuckle bump.
So we got. I want to talk about something that's coming up soon in Alpine, January 19th and 21st. 19th through the 21st. We're holding an event. I can't really tell everyone exactly what it is. Actually, it's the 19th and 20th. It's going to be really cool, and we're going to be racing things. I will bring it on the next show, so tune in on that. It's going to be a really cool event that is got a bunch of really good sponsors in it. And
May or may not have things to do with electric and gas.
things.
The gas powered
Racing things.
I like racing things.
Cody's like official teaser guy. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys about this something awesome, but I can't tell you it all.
It looks pretty cool.
yeah, it's going to be sweet, huh?
Wow, looks awesome.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good roster coming up. Oh dang! Trust me,
You're going to want to be there.
y'all want to see it. It's on this. Oh, you can't see it. we got a
Come
pretty
to
good,
Alpine.
we got a pretty good roster coming up. I know Boise. We talked to a few people. Another business owner, Dynamic Designs. He wants to come on for a chat. John Miller from Backcountry United wants
Those
to
are gonna
come
be
on.
awesome chats.
Actually, I correct that. Backcountry United Foundation wants to talk about some of the work he's doing, and anybody else. You guys, like, this is a new platform. We've crammed 4 or 5 up to 10 people on here, but I think it would be a complete disaster with 10 people. But let's bring it in. Let's everybody kind of, if you reach out to us, hit us on the page, message me, message Cody. But we want to start combining people just like this. We got Brad Farmer, marketing, coffee guy. We got Kyle Poulton over here. Cheater. Sorry, I was a little nervous when I kicked it off. We got Kyle from the construction industry and from the kickoff of the Driven Mindset podcast. So I want to bring in different backgrounds, different cultures, and get perspective from people on mindset. And like, I think this show is going to be an absolute success, especially going through this stuff. Because right here, dude, I already got some stoked to take on the day tomorrow. Definitely. Kyle definitely brought some fire. We're around the hour mark right now.
Yeah.
Already. Did it feel like an hour, you guys?
And I'm starving, but
we got dinner plans.
It all makes it more fun because everybody's involved.
So yeah,
yeah, like it's so cool having everyone. We should do this more.
well, yeah, just fly out whenever, bro.
Yeah,
Or we'll fly there.
jump on. We'll
Live
start getting
and direct.
sponsors involved, and we'll just fly all over. The
Well,
place.
I think
If
Al.
anybody has a private plane, that'd be awesome, by the way.
We gave a pretty big shout out to the Owl, so hopefully they pick up us as a syndicated official show of the Owl microphone video conferencing system. You guys, this thing is rad. If you work in a business and you're at home, or I guess this is really kind of centered around conference table meetings. Those.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even when you don't and you stream it, it's pretty cool because you can put it up on like your smart TV as well.
Absolutely.
Which makes it like a huge picture instead of having a computer, and you can just talk and kind of relate on a more bigger face picture than via computer, I guess.
Love it. The Owl. Google it.
the owl.
If anybody wants to officially sponsor the show, I need an owl and a private plane.
Yeah, but that's what this show is all about, man. This show is all about fire and stoke.
But yeah, so and honestly, like to that record, like this is fun and in person, but this whole principle started with doing what you can with what you have at the time and work, consistently towards it. I didn't have a sled network at the time when I started the show. I had Kyle. He was my buddy on early episodes, and I was just calling people, and I'm like, "Yo, dude, I'm starting this new thing. Let's hop on a camera with me."
Yeah.
And to be a spokesman of my own platform, it's been an extremely awesome launching pad. And now that I have a larger sledder network, I got Cody Hunt sitting here shotgun with me now. Brad Farmer,
Yo.
Kyle Poulton,
Yeah, buddy.
drop a mindset bomb. I think you got the big bomb.
It's just bombs.
Just nothing but bombs.
It's just
I mean,
bombs.
What else do you do? I mean, these days
You don't stop.
You just don't. You can't.
Yeah,
And
the second
instead
you
of going
start,
home
you become
and
unhappy, and then
instead of going home and getting glued on Instagram or
Go live.
for the rest of the people, I'm sure OnlyFans if you're a guy or whatever,
apparently guys really hate on that until they see how much money they have.
I mean, I get it. I'm not hating on it, but instead of sitting doing nothing and being miserable,
Find
go out,
solutions.
go out,
Yeah,
chop some wood, maybe hang out with the kid, take a bike ride.
I did it for a year.
Start 75 hard.
So sure, start 75 hard, and
Don't recommend it, people.
it seems hard for Scott, but yeah, start new things, do new stuff.
Yeah, go get out.
Drink coffee, do stuff.
Drink
Yeah,
coffee, do
drink
stuff.
How do people
do
find it,
stuff.
man? How do they find you? How do they order? You got it online?
drinkcoffeedostuff.com. You can order everything on there. It's award-winning, delicious coffee.
Nice.
And,
Makes me want coffee right now.
If you happen to be in the Tahoe area, you can stop by our incline location, and coming roughly around February 1st, our new downtown Truckee location.
Nice.
Very nice.
Build a thermos up on the way to the mountain.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I'm looking forward to that.
ooh,
Coffee.
ooh, hot drinks on the mountain.
Yeah.
Cody, you got any other teasers you want to drop that you may or may not be able to talk about?
I like the teasers.
You're like the teaser guy.
And
So,
on next week.
I don't know. And here we are talking about something else. No, so I kind of dropped the teaser that I was going to be riding an electric sled this winter. That is a thing. Definitely going to make that happen, and I'm super stoked to be teaming up with Tyga and making it happen and getting on that electric train. I mean, that's going to be insane. The amount of torque and power that sled's going to have. Man.
Can we get them on this? Like
Yeah, for
somebody
sure.
from
They
there?
might not be able to understand them.
Oh, they're all Italian or
No, they're from Quebec.
Quebec.
Yeah. I mean, we could try.
French.
French Canadian. I got a buddy.
I was close enough. Maybe I could, I don't know. Minnesota. It's close, right?
Hey, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
See you guys this winter, midwinter. We'll be able to have a great stream.
Yeah. And for everyone that came and saw us in Boise, that was really cool. Thanks for, checking the truck out and coming to see all of us down there. And I know Snow West was super stoked with that show. So
Thank you, Snow West.
yeah.
Thank you, Snow West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of the stuff goes, I got a couple days off this week, so you guys look forward to dropping some more episodes. Keep an eye out. I got one person live currently on the interweb, so everybody that's listening to this and I'm saying dropping episodes, you've probably already listened to them. We got Caleb Sturkey and Boondock Nation will be coming out next. So look forward to this episode coming out in about a week, I would say.
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
And where do they find it, Scott?
They find it on Spotify is the only one I'm really pushing because I like Spotify. It's where I go to get my podcast because I run Samsung. But Google Play has it and a few other miscellaneous podcast stations. I don't know off the top of my head. And hopefully, if I can spend a couple hours on the Apple stuff, we'll be on Apple Podcasts next week.
Sick.
But Spotify, the Driven Mindset Podcast, Scott Spiro, Cody Hunt. You guys heard it, man. Find something to be grateful for. Find something to be thankful for. And nothing rings more true than this Thanksgiving Eve.
Go be with your family and have a good time.
Stay driven.
Yeah.
Yeet.